Shalom again, everybody. Ariel Tzadok here from the KosherTorah School, found online at www.koshertorah.com. I'm bringing to you again today's daily lesson in the Sefer Yetzirah. This is lesson number 38, and it is, of course, dedicated to the health, safety, well-being, and prosperity of everyone around the world today, facing the trials, tribulations, and obstacles that we most certainly are. Well, remember, every obstacle hides an opportunity. Never forget that. As we're talking about sefirot into letters, do the practice. Don't make this material just academic. Make it real. We are right now discussing chapter 2, the first Mishnah, the concept of the three mother letters, emesh. A point that I try to make very clear in our class yesterday. When we are talking about letters, we're talking about our text. It is absolutely vital that we never make the mistake of trying to interpret the text, this ancient text, in light of modern understandings. You cannot take something old and try to fit it into something new. When you do that, you change it fundamentally and essentially emasculate it of its power. That's why you don't do that. Maybe you could study Sefer Yetzirah in accordance to all the multiple interpretations that are out there. Books in Hebrew, books in English and in French, I'm sure in Spanish as well. And you can have your metaphysical, philosophical entertainment. Sit back and go, wow, I'm so impressed. Or you can recognize what the text is really all about. Recognize how it is meant as a force of formation. I would use the word creation, but in our Kabbalah speak, we're very strict about our terminology. We're talking about making things happen, changing immaterial to the material, making the force into form. This is all real. Yeah, it really is. You've heard it said that in the Sefer Yetzirah, especially from this chapter forward, it teaches you the secret recipe of how to create a golem. A golem is an artificial life form. You might see in some of the stories, they'll say they'll take a form, like a clay figure of a person, and then you recite the holy name on it, and the clay figure turns into a living being, but it can't speak. Oh, really? Okay. These are lovely, lovely stories, but that's not what a golem is really all about. A golem is actually more akin to what is called in the Tibetan traditions a tulpa, in which we start with the mental construct, the sefirot of Belima, and then we're projecting them into their yesod, their foundational form, which is originally a construct of mind. And that takes on an autonomous reality in what we would call an astral reality. And only when necessary can that astral reality, with its own, like mind of its own, like an artificial intelligence of its own, programmed within it, if you will, materialize from time to time in physical form. You might have seen this in numerous myths around the world with regards to phantoms or poltergeist activity in this stuff. It works on the same, unquote, spiritual mechanics of how this operates. This is why it's important that we understand the text correctly. No, I am not planning to put in our lessons here the recipe for how to create a golem. Rabbi Chaim doesn't speak about that. He is the author or the path that we're teaching specifically here. Yeah, I dabble a little bit into the deeper 40-hour Sefer Yetzirah course. And you should know I even have a third, from the naturalist point of view, discussing chapter 1. If you look in the notes on this lesson, you'll see there's a link to that syllabus. You can go look and see if that's a course of interest to you. But here, getting back to our three mamas. We discussed why they're called mamas, mothers. Why? What is a mother? You know what a mother is. A mother gives birth. But there's something else more archetypal about a mother. A father in the hunter-gatherer archetypal mentality, he's the one who goes out, conquers the world, makes a living, and brings it back to the home, which is nestled and nurtured by the mother. So these three are the nurturers. They're the mothers. And it is so curious that the language used to describe them, it says Yisodan, they are the foundations of Kaf Zechut, Kaf Hova, and the Lashon Chok Machriya B'Intayim. The Kaf Zechut, we talked a little bit about this in our last class. Kaf Zechut literally would translate as the hand of merit. Kaf Hova, the hand of obligation. All right, but really, for those of you who know your Hebrew, you know that these are terms that are used in issues like jurisprudence in court. If I want to say, for example, in Hebrew, which we always say, ledun bekaf zechut, give somebody kav zechut. In other words, give them the merit, or give them the value of merit, this kaf zechut. Give them benefit of the doubt. But kaf zechut also means, if you will, innocence. Kaf chova would actually mean guilt. Okay? Where does this concept of jurisprudence with these terminologies applying to letters? What the heck is this connection here? We're talking religion, spirituality, even metaphysics. How did we end up in court using legal language? If you remember, I explained to you yesterday the meaning of the word zechut, merit, is actually, understand the archetype. Merit is giving you something that you do not already have. Chova, obligation or guilt, is taking away from you something that you already have. Zechut, giving you something you don't have. Chova, taking something from you that you do have. That's what these letters are. Scratch your head and say, I don't get it. Yeah, because this is what we really need to focus on when we want to talk about these letters being the source here. And the only way we can understand that is to continue with the text. This hok, the lashon, that's your tongue. Oh, by the way, please don't consider me gross, but I'm going to do this just for a second. How many of you, I want to show you my tongue. You'll notice, all right, pause the video if you need to, my tongue doesn't have a little fork in it. I'm not a reptilian. I'm not a reptile. You know, I covered this in my recent class talking about the occult, and I addressed the issue in some of the anti-Semitic insane circles today, that some of these lunatics out there are saying, you know, certain people are reptilian shapeshifters, and the Queen of England and the old President of the United States, they're all secret reptilians. And, you know, you sit there and you go, does nobody remember the 1980s television show V? This guy is watching television and telling you it's real, and you kind of wonder if his psychiatric medication is up to date. I mean, this person has, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, no validity whatsoever. And of course, he propagates the anti-Semitic mentality that Jews are also reptilians. Oh, God, please. Okay? So you see my tongue. I'm sorry. I'm not a lizard. I'm not an iguana. I am not an alligator. So see you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm talking about tongue, the lashon. So that's the chok machriya b'intayim. This is that which we say is the law, chok, the rule which balances between guilt and innocence, zchut and chova. What are we talking about? Where on earth did this judiciary come in? And then we flip to another topic. Shlosh Shemot, 3 mothers. Emesh, those are the 3 letters, Alef, Mem, Shin. And remember, the Alef and the Mem and the Shin, like we talked yesterday, this is not about the shape of the letters. Forget all that. I know what the other rabbis teach. I know what the Zohar and all, the Kitvei Ari, I know what they all teach, okay? Trust me when I say this is teaching for the public. This is not the Sod Sod. Those who experience real prophetic Kabbalah, who know the secret of ascent and interact in the Olamot, recognize and see through the transparent. If you don't want to, believe whatever you want. I don't care. There's no agenda here. I'm just telling you that if you do ascend and a Shin takes on a form completely different from the three prongs that we see today, you should know better. Also, let you know this. Reb Chaim says that the way that the letter Shin, as it says here, I'm flipping ahead a bit, it says the Shin Shoreket, the Shin hisses, Shin. And he says that corresponds to the brain and the three sefirot of the mind, the Keter Chochmah Bina. But you go into the Sefer Temunah, our ancient book which speaks about the pre-Adamic civilizations, and they'll tell you that the original form of the letter Shin had 4 prongs to it. Did you ever see a 4-pronged Shin? Every one of you who's a Torah-observant man, you darn well know the 4-pronged Shin. It's on your Tefilin. The only place you're going to see the usage of a 4-pronged Shin. Why? What's it there for? One side has 3, one side has 4. Yes, they fit together like this. The secret, of course, is to show us both realms of the reality. The 4-pronged Shin exists in the higher realm, the 3-pronged Shin in ours. And the two merge together, which is actually why we wear the tefillin upon the head. And remember, the law of wearing tefillin is very, very meticulous. Even though the words in the Torah, we recite it every day in the Shema, right? Ukshartam le'ot al yedecha, you should wear them as a sign upon your arm. V'hayu letotafot bein einecha, the word, they should be totafot. No one really knows how to translate. It says between your eyes. So I've seen some people say, oh, between here and my eyes, so I'm going to wear it on my nose. Why? Because that's between my eyes. You've got to understand what things mean, please. Has to be worn right up here. And when it's worn right at the place where the hair, hair used to be, all right, it channels energy that's within you. And I might add, I found a long time ago an essay written by an acupuncturist who showed that the proper wearing of tefillin activates and touches acupuncture points along the body meridian. Gee, what a surprise that was. If you're looking for that article, go on to KosherTorah, put it tefillin in my search bar, and you should be able to find it. I think I have it on KosherTorah.com. For the record, and I'm going to get really controversial here, anyone who wants to meditate with tefillin, to do so properly, in my opinion, can do so. Okay? And somebody says, what happens if you're not Jewish? Well, if you want to bond in this path, I'm not going to stop you from wearing tefillin. I'll even teach you how to do it properly. Who knows where it can guide you? Closer to holiness. You never know where it will lead you. Women, you can quote to me all the stories about Rashi's daughters wearing tefillin. You know, if a woman wants to wear tefillin or a talit, as long as this is not done as some misguided form of feminism whose intent is specifically to be derogatory towards men or masculinity or the religion of Judaism, if you're doing it for a sincere, devoted intent to get close to God, by all means, do it, as far as I'm concerned. I know many rabbis will, no. You don't have to listen to them. 3 mothers, mem, domemit. The mem is silent. That's what the word domem means. Shin shoreket, shin, right? And Alef, Havir, ruach machriya b'ntayim, is the one, the spirit, the air between them. Reb Chaim says, the shin corresponds to the brain, the mind. The 3 sefirot corresponding to the 3 prongs of the shin. The mem, he says, is like the shape of the womb, or the stomach, if you will. That is better understood if I will give you the Chinese understanding of that. That is an area called the tien. For those who practice deep meditative breathing, especially from the martial art tradition, we have something called tien breathing, where you literally open up beneath the stomach, beneath your sternum there, all right, up above the navel. Kabbalistically, this is the yichud between Tiferet and Yesod, right around the tabur, For those of you who know Kabbalah speak, that's the belly button. You recognize the importance because that's the place where one world overlaps the other. Go into the Otzrot Chaim series for explanations of those metaphors. This is the tien. The tien is the mem. It's the mother. It is the natural world. The Shin of the thoughts and the mind. That is of the world of mind. Mem is of the world of nature. The human mind and human nature, or the mind of man and the nature of God, has to find proper harmony and balance. This comes through the secret of breath, the Alef, which binds the two. So now, being that we're focusing on letters and what they really mean, not some symbolic shapes, not even their sounds, which is the real important thing. The other course, I teach the meditation of the shh and the and the. We don't have to get into that here. We want to get into a little bit different direction. Understand now that as we are breathing, the technique of breathing, especially in the martial arts, is to focus the mind so that it can channel and traverse through the body. And from here comes the power of movement. Movement is what creates and forms. As we do it in the body and the mind together, this is what creates things. This is the real secret of these foundational forms. The mother of the mind, the mother of the tien, stomach, the mother of breath. They are all nurturing. The mothers give rise to things. So in the natural world, symbolized by the letter mem, symbolized by water, water is always fluid. It's always moving. Everything in nature is always in a state of transition. Every form that we inhabit is always in a state of transition. So by contemplating form represented by the letters, we combine and recombine, reform and restructure. We did this exercise yesterday. The letters are going to form in different ways. And by combining letters, we see the connections between this and that. And you can say, okay, that's all a nice philosophical exercise. But it's more than that. Because when you take the power of the mind, the Shin, the fire, as you know, like in welding, fire burns things together. You can use fire to tear things apart that don't belong and use the fire to merge them together to make them united. So when you're dealing with your construct of reality and you are faced with a circumstance not to your design, you will use the powers of the Sefer Yetzirah, the power of the mind in meditation, enhanced through the breath, which channels through the tien. And as every martial artist knows, that's the place of chi. Chi is the life force energy, the Esesfirot Belima energy in the physical body. And by going through the process of the Shin, power of the mind, the spirit, they'd call that in the Chinese, it directs the chi through the breathing technique and through the combination of these three, mind, nature, breath. We can form and reform, structure and restructure. And that is the secret of the foundational forms of the letters. This is the real meaning of the Alef, the Mem, and the Shin. Fire mind, water body, air breath. Merging these together, understanding what they mean, putting it into practice. That is the foundation of how we're going to work with what we will learn later as the 231 gates. So on that note, Let's take this down. Let's understand it. Practice breathing exercises, tien, deep breathing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google this. I'm sure on YouTube you will find, deep breathing, chi-based breathing, tien exercises. Learn this, practice this, see for yourselves. I have courses online with meditative techniques if you're interested, and other materials for you as well. For those of you who are interested in the relationship of martial arts to Judaism, go on to Kosher Torah, go into my search bar, and look for the article entitled Martial Arts in Torah. Read for yourself the source material, and we'll take it from there. Alrighty, guys, have a wonderful day. Put into practice, and I'll see you in our next class. Ariel Tzadok, KosherTorah.com, saying Shalom.